be sweet. Hi lovely people of Ghana, it's a Nigerian girl pleasure bringing you political news in our channel Akroma TV. Breaking the 8 is finally assured. It has been gotten and we know it is a success already. But as we see, Kennedy Japan has come to join forces. Yes, he has come to join Dr. Bawumia to begin a campaign. This one, he is now in Dr. Bawumia's camp campaigning. And these some people have come to say that this is the forces we really want. Joining forces of people of this caliber, it is a plus to Ghana. Please.
If you go back to our history of the party, I'm not sure anyone, first attempt has won. Dubuahin, initially, I think he took it. But then Kufuor.
He won in 92 and Kufuor beat him in 96.
Yes. Yeah. Kufuor came in, if the first time Kufuor came third.
Yeah.
If you remember. Then 98, Kufuor, 96, then Kufuor won. And then he went for the 90 election.
Kufuor was in second.
Kufuor didn't win. Kufuor had to go back. And that's the pattern. And for Dr. Bawumia, it's a very good attempt. And it's very good resource for him. But don't forget, he carried himself very well. The first time I met him was in President Kufuor's house. And, he just came into the country like me. I had also come to the country from UK. He was so bad. And I said, Mr. Papa, I said, oh, he's a nice guy. He's coming to help us with the Bank of Ghana. He's a smart guy. And I kept an eye on him, saying, this is a star in the party.
I see.
It's a star in the party, because the party had always been the account-tagged party for a long time. And I admit, I mean, we all have our inside discussions, and we know that outside there's like, if you're not an account, you don't come in. Even when I stood an election in Infantiman, at some point the account was even dropped, and they said I was at Ashanti. I'm Ashanti by name, Asamoah Boati. My mom is a Fanti. And so I had to convince them that that's my mom. I go matrilineal. And so you see the differences inside. So we needed to have some way of bridging that kind of tag and getting together as a party that sheds away those tags. And we're lucky to have a candidate of his caliber, and he cuts across. When he came into the party as a running mate to Nana Kufuor in the 2008 election, when he was elected, I think at Alisa, I was a council of national council member. It was a tough decision. I mean, the party was just come in, relax. There are people ahead of him, but Kufuor stuck with him, and it took a while. He built his character through that, and against a lot of heavyweights in the party. And he's come along. His humility, his approach to people, he cuts across everybody. Youth, he's a young man, don't forget, he's a young man, and he reaches to some of us who have been in the party for donkeys. Don't forget, I've come a long way. And so I knew this is a star coming in. And he's conducted himself so well. And especially, if you look at even the government programs, and everywhere government has succeeded in touching like fundamental changes in our economy, his name comes across there. The digitization of most of our services, he's in there. Everywhere, Dr. Bawumia will be there. And so far, I haven't had any complaint about him. So we are lucky to have him around. But having said that, Kennedy is a crowd puller. Kennedy is a crowd puller. There's no election that I would say Kennedy doesn't come in. He will come in. We need Kennedy in the...
Dr. Bawumia's sacrifice, humility, hard working, and the way he conducts himself, you will know that Dr. Bawumia is a very great man. In as much as he will know that he is a good man. Now, Kennedy Japan, on the other hand, he has shown that he can pull crowd. Yes, to be sincere, so many of us don't know that Kennedy Japan will pull such crowd. We never knew that he would do this well to get this massive vote. But what we never expected is for the two of them to join forces to come and be campaigning for one person.
He sits on the platform. He just get the crowd.
As we analyze tonight
will be, so what do you do with Ken now? Now with all the votes he's got, what do you do with him? Raymond, I'm staying with you on the question of the expectation.
Yes.
He's confessed. He was expecting 75%. So this clearly isn't what he was expecting.
Clearly. But he was not alone. We all know that, I mean,
as if it was a refrain or some data had been shared around to be. Samuel Oku said it. A lot of the people who campaigned for Dr. Bawumia said, in fact, they even said at least 70%. The clarity, remember, it was our conversation over the global info analytics data. That's where Sami said he would dismiss it immediately because it doesn't put Dr. Bawumia within the 70s. And anything below 70, in fact, he was even pushing up to 80. And some said, well, it's a done deal, but the percentage will show what's important here. Two things would happen. Our expectation was that he was going to put up a fight. And we mentioned that even outgoing the polls, they were suggesting Dr. Bawumia's figures were still rising in the north, but not in the south of the country, which was a bit problematic because the higher numbers were in the south. So you do not need to win so many regions to actually make the inroads that Ken is making. If you, of course, the regions don't matter in this election, only for analysis, because it's a unity state, so it doesn't matter. But if you break it down, Ken is, as we know now, winning like 2 or 3 regions, Central, Volta, then maybe another one if he adds up to it. You think about it, he's making over 30% with just 2 regions and getting some of the lowest figures in the north of the country. But those figures don't matter because of the numbers involved here. And that's something that he was hoping to ride on. And he was also successful in doing something, pitching candidates who were for, as in parliamentary candidates and parliamentary MPs who were for what we call Dr. Bawumia against the ordinary people. Regional chairman, constituency chairman. He made it so clear that they were not for their interest, that they were taking big money and the people on the ground were not getting anything. So you needed to make your voice heard differently. So you could see some of the reaction on the ground reflecting that kind of opinion. Ultimately, if he doesn't get the impression that still an establishment candidate was favored over me, then he'll play ball. But of course, people know him to also be a businessman. And the thing with businessmen in politics is that ultimately, he will do the plus 1 minus 2, and it comes down to what would be my interest in going forward. Already, I've heard people within the NPP saying that he just bumped up to number 2 on the list of a possible future for the NPP. That you can no longer dismiss or see Kennedy Japan, who in less than 1 year, and let's not get it wrong,
and you make a very important
in less than 1 year, has made so much inroads that people have done God knows how long, since 2008, have not been able to do similar action on the ground. He appears to have gotten a certain support, grassroots, for a political party that is seen to be elitist in nature. It is one of the reasons they can never ignore him today, because you would need him to still get to the grounds. There's a conversation happening within the NPP today about whether or not Dr. Bawumia is identified with by the ordinary person, even within the party. And if you remove all the other hangers on the support, will he still be able to make the kind of inroads that Kennedy Japan did in this case? So that is how important the man has moved from a financier, somebody who was saying things nobody liked in this country, somebody who was condemned by virtually everybody, right from international institutions and all of that, to now one of the most important people within the NPP.
And you can't.
I've even heard a conversation that all of the 16 or so Asante potential vice presidential candidates do not have anything close to what he has in the party.
And you cannot ignore him now. You make the point about his place second. What does it mean for him going forward? The party's history shows in primaries, those who play second tend to rise to the top. Is the reason why
I'll make a claim
for it. And I was going to make the claim bit because you have Alan Chamanting who had placed second over the period, believing and ran with the slogan "A Drew Missile," because he believed at the point that it was his time, right? And then you have Ken, who is now placed second. Of course, there are more races coming up in the next few years.
Yes.
In 1998, when they did the primary, the current president was second. Eventually, he came forward and believed that, of course, it was his turn. And we were told that in the party, they have these arrangements that you eventually get to a place where you rise to the top. What will be Ken's thinking around that going forward? Will he get to a place where he believes, and I want to bring in here, Echese Kanku, that because of what he secured now, looking at the party's history over time, he is next in line, possibly. He has a right to lead the party going into post-2024, for example. The party will have to manage that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Evans. I don't even know whether to take your second question or the first one about expectations, but I still want to stab on that. I think
No, go for the expectation because it's still within that realm.
I think we're overstating everything over here. Listen, Kennedy Agyapong has been a mainstay of the political trajectory of this country for a long time. I don't have the exact year, but he's been an MP and honorable is here.
20 years.
20 years?
Since 2000. 20 years.
Since 2000.
2 decades. That is not a short time in politics. And in order to build your constituency as a politician or somebody who wants to aspire for the president, getting your hold on a parliamentary constituency is very important. In fact, some have stated that one of the reasons why Alan Shemanting has not done as well in the presidentials or in his political career is because he does not have a constituency he can call his own. And I heard an elder within the party saying that he advised him that go stand for parliament and get that political experience. Honorable Kennedy has been there. He has the political experience. He has the political capital. So let's not overstate what has happened today. Yes, it is an impressive showing based on the expectations game, and politics sometimes has an internal forced expectation games that are played, that is being played. I've heard all those things, and so that is influencing what we are saying. But then when you strip it off, those games of expectations, and you look at the bare essentials, you look at the existing context within which this has happened, my goodness, it is watershed, it is momentous, and I think we are losing that. This is a party which since its formation it started participating in political elections in 1992, has had an Akan-oriented leader ever since, or even just an Akan leader ever since it was formed. It became so difficult for anybody outside that Akan region to pierce their way and to best that veneer glass to get into the top to become the political candidate. In fact, it became the clarion cry of a lot of people that, hey, no way a Northerner is going to be, they are ethnocentric, they are tribalistic, very huge argument. For the first time, we do have a Northerner becoming the leader of a major political party in this country. The scion of the Dumbo tradition, the former Bawumia tradition. Aliyu Mahama, that memory has all come into play right now, and Bawumia has carried that fire and become the first northern leader of the party and the first Muslim leader of the party in a Christian-dominated country, and going at it for the first time, and not even been from the hallowed halls of Bank of Ghana as a professional, an economic professional, and then this first step as VP. He has done it. This is a historical moment, and we shouldn't let the expectations game cloud or help let us recognize the importance of what has happened today, not just for the New Patriotic Party, but for our democracy in Ghana. A lot of people will look at this and say that we too can become presidential candidate one day, irrespective of my tribe, irrespective of my religion, irrespective of if I don't even belong to a long history of politics, and it will be an inspiring moment. So for me, that is my first point in terms of is this what I expected, is this what I didn't expect. I think that what has happened is momentum for what it is, and we should recognize it for what it is. Honor has done great from the context too. His pronouncement, his rhetoric, and where he's come from, nobody expected.
Our expectation was that Kennedy Agyapong would bring up a fight after Dr. Bawumia was declared winner. But it never happened. He surprised every one of us. But he just rather surrendered and even had to move on with his life. Has nothing to do with any other insult or any other thing. He only came out to join forces with Dr. Bawumia, and this one is a great move. Please do well to like, comment, put on your notification bell so you get all our updates on my phone. Thanks, my people.